In 2022, a young mother sold her own infant to pay off her online sabong debt, an unthinkable crime for which she was convicted in 2024. The baby, then just 8 months old, became a casualty of a digital gambling craze that, in just a few years, swept through Filipino households, leaving behind a trail of broken families, empty bank accounts, and lives cut short. Stories like hers are no longer rare in the Philippines. Since the rise of online sabong, or e-sabong, during the pandemic, tales of addiction and devastation have multiplied. For some, what started as a pastime to kill boredom during lockdowns quickly spiraled into a dangerous habit. For others, the losses went beyond money. Jobs, relationships, mental health, and even lives were lost to the 24/7 lure of easy money in the virtual cockpit. One anonymous player recounted how he lost up to 4 months' worth of salary in just a few weeks. He says, "I touched my emergency savings. It's addicting. When you lose, you always think about making it back. The odds feel 50-50, but it's risky, and maybe I was just unlucky. I was warned, but the thought of winning it all back always pulled me in. In the end, you only have yourself to blame." Another says, "I think I've lost 500,000 pesos to e-sabong," another player confessed. "I make over 60,000 pesos a month, but it feels like I have nothing left after paying my debts. I know I'm addicted, but I can't stop. I don't know who to talk to anymore." And for some, the cycle of debt and loss has pushed them to the brink. "I promised myself again and again that I'll stop, but I keep going back. I've already lost over 100,000 pesos. I can't sleep, I'm depressed, and I don't know how to pay off my debts." These are just a handful of the thousands caught in e-sabong's grip. A digital vice so widespread that by early 2022, thousands of Filipinos were betting online every day, with roughly 200 live matches streamed daily, according to data from the Philippine Amusement and Gaming Corporation. For every winner, there are many more silent sufferers, parents pawning valuables, young people spiraling into debt, and families torn apart by shame and silence. Let's look at a brief information about e-sabong. What is e-sabong? E-sabong, short for electronic sabong or online cockfighting, is the digital version of a centuries-old Filipino gambling game. Instead of gathering at crowded cockpit arenas, gamblers log into websites or mobile apps to place bets on live-streamed cockfights, broadcast in real time from licensed arenas across the country. According to Inquirer, it is defined as the online or remote wagering on live cockfighting matches, events, and activities streamed or broadcast live from cockpit arenas licensed by local governments. Unlike traditional sabong, where bettors shout over the noise of the crowd, online sabong can be played anywhere, in bedrooms, internet cafes, or even on a phone while commuting. The fights are quick, with barely a pause between matches, and bets can be placed repeatedly in just minutes. E-sabong platforms, licensed and regulated by Inquirer, require players to register, submit IDs, and verify their identity. Only Filipinos aged 21 and above are allowed to join, and strict rules prohibit public officials, police, and military personnel from playing. Payments and withdrawals are made through digital wallets or bank transfers, and betting limits are set by the operator. So, why did it boom during the pandemic? The COVID-19 pandemic created the perfect storm for e-sabong's explosive growth. With traditional arenas shut down by lockdowns and public gatherings banned, enthusiasts and newcomers flocked online, searching for both entertainment and a quick financial fix. For those suddenly out of work, e-sabong promised the thrill of easy money. No need to leave home, no need for much skill, just a stable internet connection and a bit of luck. The lure proved irresistible for Liza, not her real name, who lost her job when the pandemic struck. With nothing to do and bills piling up, she found herself trying her luck as an online sabong agent. Everything was closed, and it was scary to go outside. "I wanted to do something different and saw that e-sabong was everywhere, so I gave it a shot," she recalled. Liza spent several hours a week picking her bets, sometimes judging the roosters by their size or how fierce they looked on screen. She admits that boredom and joblessness drove many people she knew into the online cockpit. For Jenny, not her real name, E-SABONG became more than just a way to pass the time. Before she knew it, it was part of her everyday life. Someone taught me how to play. At first, I had no idea how any of it worked, but soon I was betting almost every day, sometimes losing sleep because I stayed up all night watching the fights, she shared. Jenny said she usually placed small bets, but when she won, she'd double down, risking everything again in hopes of hitting it big. For others, like Carl, curiosity and family influence led them to try. My relatives played a lot, so I just wanted to see what it was about. It was easy to get hooked because you could bet anytime, anywhere, he admitted. For some, the pandemic gave E-SABONG an almost social aspect. It wasn't just about the money, it was something to do together. Sometimes, it was bonding time for me and my dad or brother, Jenny added. But not everyone was so lucky. Many who started for fun ended up deep in debt or fighting addiction. Looking back, I realized I could have lost much more than just money, Jenny said. Between April 2021 and January 2022, at least 34 E-SABONG enthusiasts went missing in Luzon, including 19 from Laguna, with additional cases reported in Batangas, Bulacan, Manila, and Rizal. These missing sabongeros sparked a nationwide scare and prompted a high-profile Senate inquiry. A whistleblower, Julie Patadongan, also known as Totoi, surfaced and claimed in an interview over GMA News that the number of missing could be much higher, possibly as many as 100 individuals. According to Patadongan, the missing sabongeros were killed, tied to sandbags, and their bodies disposed of in Taal Lake. Patadongan also provided specific details to the authorities, which prompted families of the disappeared to renew calls for a search of the area, hoping to recover the remains of their loved ones, even if just the bones. No remains directly linked to the missing sabongeros have been found in Taal Lake so far. However, authorities are actively exploring ways to retrieve the bodies, if the bodies were really buried there, including deploying technical divers and seeking the assistance of foreign experts. Meanwhile, Justice Secretary Jesus Crispin Ramola said the disappearances may be connected to profit-driven corporate killings rather than isolated incidents. He emphasized that the scale and coordination of the crimes point to a systematic operation involving subcontractors, hired groups who carried out abductions and killings for profit. President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. has ordered law enforcement agencies to conduct a deeper probe and deliver conclusive results as soon as possible. The Department of Justice, on the other hand, is preparing to file charges against identified suspects, based on ongoing investigations and the information provided by the whistleblower. Amid this, public attention has also turned to well-known personalities in the gaming industry. Businessman Otto Wong, frequently mentioned in connection with E-SABONG, has strongly denied any involvement in the disappearances. Actress Gretchen Barreto, who has been linked to the controversy due to her association with Ong, has publicly denied any involvement in the case of the missing sabongeros. In a statement relayed by her lawyer, Barreto said she was not connected to the disappearances and had no participation in E-SABONG operations. For families of the missing, the search for truth is far from over. Many continue to press authorities for action, clinging to the hope that their loved ones, or at least the truth behind their fate, will finally be found. At the height of the pandemic, E-SABONG thrived under PAGCOR's regulatory watch. The government, facing an economic slump, initially allowed the industry to operate as a source of revenue even as concerns about addiction and criminal activity quietly mounted. But as cases of disappearances and allegations of corruption began to make headlines, public pressure forced the government to reconsider its stance.
Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe for the latest hot news of the press.